All right, our next topic of discussion, the head coaching hires. So, if my basic counting math does me correct, there were one, two, three, four, five hires in this head coaching cycle. All right, we're gonna go through them. I'm gonna give you my grades, give you my thoughts. I think what a ceiling could be, what a floor could be, yada yada yada. Right. Starting off with the Broncos, the riskiest hire in terms of capital is Sean Payton to the Broncos, and actually, this is my favorite hire. I think this is an A. And the reason I think this is an A is because I covered it on my instant Sean Payton review, but I'm going to talk about it more here. Sean Payton to me is a very, very good coach, and he's proven that over his decades and decades in the NFL. And you could say, oh, well, during his time in New Orleans, he had Drew Brees. Well, without Drew Brees, I mean, he still had a very winning record. Remember that year he went 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. He has won games with Jameis Winston, with Taysom Hill. So let's not pretend like he just can't win games without, or he's a Drew Brees merchant, as you call him. And honestly, if we want to even play devil's advocate here, we could say maybe Drew Brees is a Sean Payton merchant. I'm not saying that, just hear me out. Because Drew Brees before Sean Payton wasn't really all that. Like, he wasn't a superstar quarterback. Comes to the Saints, comes to Sean Payton, and he's obviously he's a Hall of Famer, right? So Sean Payton to the Broncos, I love. Here's why I love it. A, fix rust. That's the biggest problem. The Broncos have a lot of their capital into Russell Wilson. They have a lot of resources devoted to him. He needs to come in, not only fix him schematically, but fix him mentally, because whatever Nathaniel Hackett did, whatever black magic he pulled, just completely screwed Russell Wilson up. Get a veteran guy, a guy who knows offense, get him in there, fix Russell Wilson. Because here's the thing, guys. If the Broncos' offense was semi-competent last year, the Broncos would have been one of the best teams in the NFL. Their defense was fantastic, and it kind of faded at the end of the year because I think the players in the locker room got tired of being on the field all the time and the offense not giving them any support. But if the Broncos have a competent offense, they're one of the best teams in the NFL. If you can get Jerry Jeudy cooking, if you can, I can't say that word cooking with Russell Wilson because it brings back bad memories. But if you can get Jerry Jeudy rolling, if you can get Cortland Sutton on a roll, I like the running backs. I like the running back. I like Javonte Williams. The offensive line, you could definitely get some work there. But man, that defense is great. And you bring in probably a veteran defensive coordinator to go run the ship. I'm pretty sure they already hired one actually. So I'm losing the name off the top of my head, but get a good defense coordinator in there. Make sure the defense is solid. Have Sean Payton focus on the offense and Russell Wilson specifically, because let's be real, guys. Not too long ago, Russell Wilson was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Right? Had a bad year. I get it. If Russell Wilson can even have half of what he was in Seattle, the Broncos could be a very, 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 very good team. Very good team. So I'm going to give Sean Payton an A for the Broncos. My next favorite hire, and this is not necessarily in order of my favorite hires, but these are 1 and 2, Sean Payton, and then Demeco Ryans to the Texans. I'm going to give that a B+. Really like Demeco Ryans to the Texans. I think they need, a guy to come in and set up some stability in their franchise. It seems like they've just been flailing around. They had Bill O'Brien, they had David Culley, they had Lovie Smith. None of those guys really did anything. They didn't really bring in a new energy, bring in a new culture to the team, and I think that's what Demeco Ryans is going to do. Obviously, was just voted the assistant coach of the year, defensive coordinator for the 49ers, who had arguably the best defense in the league. And as he said in interviews that I've seen of him, he said, a football team isn't about just a quarterback, right? We need offense, we need defense, receivers, running backs, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, safeties, corners, right? We need all that. So I think the Texans are going to build a very well-rounded, well-sculpted team. Obviously, they have good draft capital at number 2. They can get that quarterback if they want. But my guess is they're going to go for one of the defensive linemen, either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. That would be my guess. That just seems like more of Demeco Ryans' forte. And then maybe this year, maybe next year, hit on the quarterback. And then I think you're good. This to me, Demeco Ryans and what the Texans are going to do is, in my opinion, going to be very similar to what Dan Campbell and the Lions are doing. Right? Dan Campbell, obviously probably not the same pedigree as a player as Demeco Ryans, so that's even an added benefit for the Texans. But Dan Campbell, he's not like a master strategist. He's not a whatever. But he just came in there and he changed the whole culture of Detroit, right? Those guys are bought in. They love Dan Campbell. They love playing for Dan Campbell. They're tough. They're physical. They're gritty. They have effort. And are the Lions one of the most talented teams in the league? No, not yet. I mean, they're still in the midst of their rebuild. But, looking at the Lions, you could see the difference that Dan Campbell made. So do I think the Texans are going to the playoffs this year? No. Do I think maybe next year or in 2 years? I think that's a very likely possibility with Demeco Ryans at the helm. Um, so, and again, he comes, and I hate to play, again, devil's advocate again, but if you don't want to get a quarterback, I mean, he's from the Shanahan scheme where quarterback play seems to be, how can I put this? It seems to be easier to find, and it's a very quarterback-friendly system. If you can, again, run the ball, Demeco Ryans seems like a guy who just wants to run the damn ball. They got Damian Pierce, who I think is a good running back. Um, Demeco Ryans to the Texans, it just feels right. It doesn't just feel right to you guys. I mean, Demeco Ryans, the old player, the old team captain, comes back, coaches the team, and that just feels right to me, right? So B plus for Demeco Ryans to the Texans. Next, my least favorite hire of the hiring cycle, Jonathan Gannon to the Arizona Cardinals. I'm gonna give that a D. I don't. I mean, I get it, but I don't. I get it, but I don't. Right? Jonathan Gannon was the defensive coordinator to the Eagles. The Eagles obviously had a great year this year. Their defense was loaded both personnel wise and loaded both in production wise. But here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing, man. I don't know what I don't want to say what did Jonathan Gannon do because that seems disrespectful, but like why? Out of all the guys, why is it Jonathan Gannon? I mean, we just watched him in the biggest game of his life absolutely get shit on by Andy Reid. Like dude got shit on. And I know it's not, crazy to get shit on by Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a great coach. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is like, I mean, man, come on. How you gonna give up 38 points in the Super Bowl and not be able to adjust, not whatever. I think the main reason for the Eagles' defensive prowess this year was their personnel. I think you got a great team. You got stacked D line. You got great DBs. And again, I'm not saying he didn't do anything, but it's hard to kind of fuck that up. So I'm gonna give it a D. To me, it really doesn't do anything. I haven't seen anything from Jonathan Gannon to get me excited if I was a Cardinals fan. And again, who knows what's going on with the quarterback? And I can see this being just a 1 or 2 year thing where they tried it. He doesn't, then he'll go back and be a coordinator somewhere. But I don't know. I'm not a big Jonathan Gannon fanboy, so I'm going to give that a D to the Cardinals. Sticking with former Eagles offensive coordinators who just lost in the Super Bowl, I'm going to go with Shane Steichen to the Colts. I'm going to give that a B. The reason I give it a B is because I think his reputation for developing quarterbacks is great. I mean, look at what he did with Jalen Hurts. Obviously, it's not only him, but I mean, if you have Jalen Hurts as your track record, that's a really, really, really good stepping stone for a career into a head coaching path. And why I think that's so important is because I believe the Colts are either going to take a quarterback at 4 or they are going to be aggressive and move up to get the quarterback that they want. Either way, I would put almost all of my money that I have saved, which is like 20 cents because of inflation these days, but I would put almost all of my 20 cents that I currently own on the Colts taking a quarterback in the first round this year. So that means, by a logical standpoint, he is going to need to develop said quarterback and make him a stud. The Colts, they don't have a lot of talent. They are not a very good team, and I think the only true superstar you could probably hang your head on is Jonathan Taylor, who, again, he is a running back. How long is he going to have? Whatever. But I'm going to give it a B because I think the Colts' biggest need aligns with his biggest strength, and to me, that's a very good thing, right? It's just like Sean Payton, like I was talking about with Sean Payton. The Broncos' biggest need is fixing Russell Wilson and fixing the offense. Sean Payton's an offensive guy, a veteran guy. Again, I think the reason Sean Payton gets an A and Shane Steichen gets a B is because Sean Payton has a more proven track record. So I feel I know more of what Sean Payton has done. He's done it as a head coach, like he's won Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl as a head coach. Shane has done it as an offensive coordinator. It could be the case where Nick Sirianni was doing most of the heavy lifting, or maybe it was him. We don't know, but I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt here. I'd give him a B going to the Colts. Next, and the final hire of this cycle, I believe it was the first one as well. Frank Reich to the Panthers. I'm also going to give that a B, but I'm going to go B plus here. And the reason I'm going B plus here is because Frank Reich, I think, was a really good coach, and he was not the problem in Indianapolis. I don't know why he was given the X so early, but their way about going with quarterbacks is they just traded for a veteran guy every year, or they got a veteran guy free agency. Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, like all stopgap quarterbacks that really never panned out. So similarly to the Colts, like I just mentioned, he is going to take a quarterback in the first round. I'm very confident in that. And when Frank Reich, you gotta understand, guys, when Frank Reich first took damn. When Frank Reich first took the job in Indianapolis, he was expecting to have Andrew Luck, right? And he was expecting Andrew Luck to be his guy. So I think that he is wanting a quarterback. He's wanting that guy, his guy, right? Not a veteran guy. He wants that guy, and I think he's gonna be able to get it in Indianapolis. So again, to me, Frank Reich is a safe hire. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing again like a Sean Payton where it's oh my god this could be amazing, and it's nothing like a Jonathan Gannon where I think the floor is really low. To me, Frank Reich has the mid. He's like here, like the ceiling's not too high, but the floor isn't too high. He's gonna be right here. The Panthers are gonna be a respectable team. They're gonna be a quality team. They're gonna be well coached. Will they ever be Super Bowl team? No, but will they ever be probably picking in the top 5 or 6? Probably not either. So I'm gonna give it a safe bet. I'm gonna say a B for Frank Reich to the Panthers.